Here's a terrifying statistic. 95% of your daily decisions, emotions, and behaviors are not controlled by your conscious mind. That means almost everything you say, do, and feel is being quietly driven by a part of your brain you can't even see. But here's the real question. Have you ever said yes when everything inside you was screaming no? Or completely lost your temper, then stood there afterwards wondering, who even was that person? You're not broken, you're not weak, and you're definitely not alone. What you're experiencing has a name and a 100-year-old explanation. And once you understand it, you will never look at yourself the same way again. Most of us walk through life thinking we're fully in control. We make plans, we set goals, we promise ourselves we'll be better, do better, and then somehow we still end up repeating the same patterns over and over again. Why? Because there are hidden forces inside your mind. Forces that are working around the clock. Forces you were never taught about in school. And understanding them is literally the difference between a life that feels alive and one that just feels like you're going through the motions. This is where Sigmund Freud comes in. Now, before you roll your eyes, hear me out. Because this man, working in the early 1900s, mapped out something so profound that virtually every modern school of psychology was built on his foundation. Think of your mind like an iceberg. The tiny tip poking above the water, that's your conscious mind. Everything you are currently aware of, the conversation you're having, the thought you just had, what you're doing right now. That's it. That's all you can see. Just below the waterline sits your subconscious mind, your memory bank. It's not immediately active, but it's accessible. Try this. What did you have for breakfast 2 days ago? You probably had to think for a second, right? That is your subconscious at work. But the massive, dark, underwater bulk of that iceberg, the part that can sink a ship without anyone even seeing it coming, that is your unconscious mind. And this is where it gets fascinating. Your unconscious mind holds your deepest beliefs, your primal urges, your core motivations. And here's the kicker, you are not aware of most of it. Yet it is quietly steering the wheel of your life every single day. Now, Freud proposed that two powerful instincts are constantly battling inside every single human being. The first, he called Eros, the life instinct. This is the drive toward growth, connection, contribution, and cooperation. When you're operating from Eros, you experience genuine fulfillment. You feel alive. Relationships feel meaningful. Work feels purposeful. Imagine a person who dedicates themselves to their family, their community, their personal growth. They wake up energized. That energy? That's Eros. Then there's the opposing force, Thanatos, the death instinct. And this one is sneaky. It doesn't show up wearing a black cape. It disguises itself as comfort. It looks like pride, laziness, greed, self-centeredness. It's the voice that whispers, "Why bother?" It's the reason some people climb mountains their entire life, only to reach the top and realize they climbed the wrong one. Here's the uncomfortable truth Freud dropped on the world. Self-centeredness is the root of psychological death. And modern science actually backs this up. Harvard's 80-year study of adult development, one of the longest studies on human happiness ever conducted, concluded that the quality of our relationships, not wealth, not fame, not success, is the single strongest predictor of a happy, healthy life. So ask yourself, honestly, right now, which instinct is driving your daily decisions? Here's where it gets really personal. When people aren't conscious of their unconscious patterns, they fall into what psychologists call repetition compulsion, unconsciously recreating the same painful dynamics from the past, hoping for a different outcome every single time. Think about it. Do you know someone who keeps ending up in the same toxic relationship over and over? Or someone who self-destructs every time they get close to success? That is not bad luck. That is an unconscious script running in the background. Freud observed that people who are stuck in their past, attached to old wounds, old stories, old pain, effectively become absent from their present life. They're physically here, But emotionally and mentally, they are still living in a chapter that ended years ago. And to numb that gap between the life they have and the life they feel they deserve, many people turn to reckless behaviors, substance abuse, addiction, compulsive habits, not because they are bad people, but because they are unconsciously trying to fill a void they don't even fully understand yet. So what's the answer? Awareness. It really is that simple and that hard. Freud's entire framework was built on one core belief. Change happens at the level of perception. The moment you become aware of why you do what you do, your unconscious patterns lose their power over you. The process looks like this: awareness, self-regulation, growth, influence. You cannot skip the steps. You cannot manage what you cannot see. And here's the good news. You are already doing it. The fact that you're watching a video about your own mind means you are choosing the life instinct. You are choosing Eros. You are doing the inner work that most people spend their whole lives avoiding. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next briefing.